Hello, this is the All Around Natural Beauty, and welcome to the All Around Natural Beauty Show. I'm going to check the sound here and see what it sounded like. One moment for my test of the sound. Check the sound here. All right, so I think I need to be a little bit closer though. Let's see. Testing, testing. I did do this, but I don't even know. Okay, I think that's gonna be good. Testing, testing. Yeah. All right. So thank you for your patience and welcome to the All Around Natural Beauty channel, where we talk about all around natural beauty things as far as mental health and just feeling good about yourself, your self esteem, your self value, your self worth. And we talk about how to identify narcissistic personality disorder traits in individuals so you don't have to suffer by getting entangled with one of them and losing valuable, precious time in trying to get out of a relationship with them. A relationship with them has the potential to be extremely, uh, has the potential to be abusive, both verbally and physically, mentally, emotionally, just all around. So that's why we're taking this platform to really bring awareness to this so we could help people not have to, suffer in the whole cycle because we've seen that victims of this type of abuse will return back to the abuser up to 7 times, minimum of 7 times before they finally get the strength and have a good enough exit plan to leave the abuser and stay gone, leave and go and never come back, right? And we're excited to be using Darrell Brooks as the poster boy, the poster child for this whole personality trait so we can see the type of things to look for, the type of body language, personality trait, and we also are going to talk about the grandmother. And I found out more information about the mother and stuff like that. So just to show you how these narcissists have to operate under cycles. They have to stay within the patterns. So the good thing is that you have the ability to be flexible and to be creative and do other things to throw them off. And then, that's how you're able to get out of there. So one of the things that we do highlight here is yellow flags because yellow flags is good to be aware of those um, in the beginning time because sometimes if you wait for the red flags, it could be too late. By the time you see red flags, it could be too late. So I'm just excited. And I want to take a moment to thank all of my new subscribers. But before I do that, let me just catch everybody up because maybe somebody may not know who Darrell Brooks is. All right. Darrell Brooks is a man who, on November 21st, 2021, drove his, not even his, it was actually his mama's car. Mama boy, he was using mama's car. He didn't even have his own vehicle. So he was using his mama's car and drove his vehicle into crashed his vehicle into a parade of a parade, a crowd of parade goers in Waukesha, Minnesota, I think. Something like that. Let me see where this little state is at. Yeah, Wisconsin. Excuse me. Was that Midwestern or something like that? Waukesha, Wisconsin. All right. So he did that back in 2021, where 6 people were killed and dozens others were injured in this incident. And the reason why this is so significant is because they were trying to blame it on some mental health, and then we were able to prove that he represented himself and that he had no type of mental disabilities that would stop him from, representing that everything was fine there. These were just excuses that he was trying to use. So what we've been doing is going over these little details, and we can see that he had a mother who's a narcissistic female. So one of the things that's very important over here is that we're not just saying that all women are good and to stay away from all the men, because there are some men who are in abusive situations, because there are some narcissistic women out there. The female narcissist is vicious also, not as physically aggressive and dangerous as the male counterpart because of physical physicalities. However, they are more crafty and clever with the type of mental manipulation, because they have to be mentally strong enough to be able to get someone else, usually a male, to do the physical work for them. So these are the masterminds and things like that. So I'm saying that Darrell Brooks was that type of narcissist who had been acting out in this his whole life. We saw that grandma was is a narcissist, mama is a narcissist, and here we have Darrell, super narcissist, and to do all of these things. So we saw him having, thinking that he was, all of that to represent himself, and to torture the victims, right? These are more like the narcissists. They want to inflict pain, right? So he was taking pride, and not only did I kill all these people, and I'm not even taking responsibility for it because I'm gonna blame, right? Because we know that he was out there in Waukesha, Wisconsin, looking for the baby mama, on and off again girlfriend, who he had just physically abused on November 2nd with punching her in the face and also hitting her in the leg with the red Ford Escape that he used on November 21st, 2021, to crash, to run over, to run down the crowd of parade goers in Waukesha, Wisconsin, right? And his mother bailed him out of jail. So if he was in jail because the girlfriend Erica, and I'm so proud of her for standing up and actually going through with this, because she has been a victim of his for more than 15 years, and it's very difficult when you have been conditioned and groomed and beat like that for so long to be able to escape. And we saw that when we found out that she gave her location, right? She was in Waukesha because she was in a women's shelter from the abuse. And that's how he got out there. He got out there coming after her. And he was in a rage because she had people protecting her. There were people out there protecting her, and that infuriated him. The narcissists, the abusers, they will get very upset if someone tries to intervene with you, which is one of the reasons why I caution you, if you're trying to help somebody, you have to make sure, take precautions to make sure that that person understands and want the help, because you can't rescue somebody who don't think they need help. Like we heard, I'm not sure if everyone heard the video of the police officer who was responding to the complaint that the ex-girlfriend, Erica, and also the woman who was a roommate of hers in the women's shelter didn't want to report the abuse to the police when they called him after he came to Waukesha and physically assaulted her again after she gave the location, actually entered into the vehicle with him to get beat again, right? So it's some type of psychological dynamics that happens, right? Because if you're walking down the street, let's just say you're walking down the street and a strange man that you've never met before walks up to you, punches you in the face, and then hits you with his vehicle, right? You see that same man walking down the street a week later, and he calls out to you and beckons you over. Do you go over there? Right? Like most people wouldn't, right? Because you already know, like, this dude just attacked me, right? But for whatever it's worth, we have victims who return back to the abuser by verbal commands, by the abuser verbally demanding them to come, to return. And sometimes to that victim's, demise. I'm trying to be careful to make sure I'm saying the right words and stuff here. But for you to get the point that it's important that if you, not if, but when you leave and escape, you have a plan, real plan, so you can leave and stay gone. Oftentimes, victims have to go back because they can't, do it by themselves. They are entangled with the abuser in some type of way to where they, couldn't really survive without them. They need them in order to, or they believe that they need them. That's why it's important to make that plan, make that exit strategy. All right, so I'm going to take some time out right now. I'm going to give some shout outs. So that's who Darrell Brooks is, and the reason why we're using him is because the whole case was documented and people could see, exactly what was going on. But I'd like to thank all my new subscribers, y'all, because if y'all been here for a little minute, y'all saw yesterday I was at 979 subscribers, and we, know that you need 1,000 to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours in order to get monetized on this here YouTube channel. So y'all see now I've got over 1,000, and I'm just excited about that. So I like to thank all my new subscribers. I have a Sabrina Lennox, and she left some really nice comments. She says, "Grandma," referring to Darrell Brooks' grandma. "Grandma didn't care enough to even learn the little boy's first name. His name is Jackson Sparks." Jackson Sparks. Jackson Sparks. Thank you, Sabrina Lennox, for bringing that to our attention. And I'm just grateful for her saying that the little boy's name was Jackson Sparks, because it really did hurt me when the grandmother gave um that whatever the statement was, and how it was very condescending, again showing how these narcissists, at any opportunity they get, they want to inflict pain. She knew that was painful, and she was doing it on purpose. You can see her narc smirk. You can see like she was choosing her words in order to still be able to keep her mask up and really still not take responsibility. Never took responsibility and any of those things. So tonight's show, we're going to go over the actual the written document, the transcript of it. And two, also, I wasn't aware that she actually put out an edited version or an updated version. Apparently, I guess people had taken issue with, her statements, and so it was changed. And it was funny because it was some of the same words that I kind of picked up on too. So these narcissists, they are very aware. They read all the comments and they really care about what people think. So I appreciate that. Again, shout out to Sabrina Lennox for giving the name of the little boy's first name, Jackson Sparks. Rest in peace, Jackson Sparks. And I'm just grateful to know that we did get justice for the people. Justice for the people. Thank you so much again, Sabrina Lennox, for bringing that to my attention. All right. And then also, Sabrina said here, "I bet Darrell's grandmother didn't help him much throughout his life. I bet she wouldn't have, even if he would have managed to beat the charges, yet she proceeded to tell others what to feel and what not to feel. Yes. And I'm pretty sure Sabrina is talking about the statement where you can see the grandmothers clearly sending curses to people who don't have, who said they wouldn't have forgiveness. Can you imagine already, some people have a right to whatever. We all have rights to our feelings, but the narcissist oftentimes will try to guilt you into feeling a certain way. These are all forms of manipulation, right? To be able to control you, right? So now all of a sudden you have to feel bad about having unforgiveness. That's, you have to feel bad about that or feel guilty, right? And the whole time never taking any responsibility. The entire her entire speech was abusive. It was abusive, and she knew it. She came in there and straight out was abusing everybody and nah, 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 and sneering at us and belittling everybody with her statements and how she said it. Her vocal tones and even the words were all hard to listen to. It was, I felt like, really, the nerve. How dare her? And one more statement from Sabrina Lennox. I thank you so much for your engagement and stuff, and actually, saying this stuff. A lot of times we don't even want to make these comments because these narcissists, I call them gremlins or trolls. It's the same thing, right? They're sometimes in the comments and attacking people, again, doing narc moves to make you feel guilty or to bully you to not, make your statements or say how you feel because of fear of being attacked or, people saying something negative about you. But I appreciate you for the strength to put out these comments here. She says, Grandma thinks she's smarter than the judge. Again, most narcissists think they're smarter than everybody. That's why they continue to lie, because they don't think anybody could figure them out, because they believe that I'm smarter than you and you're going to believe whatever I tell you. And we saw that when grandma said, there's no one here at the moment. Thank you. Right? Those were her words, right? So the thank you part was like, that's it. Like, so let's get back to this. I'm in control here and I'm ready to give this here statement. All right, let me finish her comment here. Grandma thinks she's smarter than the judge. Silly grandma. Darrell learned how to be manipulative. That's true. Yep, I'm sure that's exactly how it goes, because you are from your environment, right? It makes a difference, right? So I'm thankful for, like I said, all these new subscribers. And let's see here, another new subscriber, Bambi Pin Pinda, Bambi Pinda, thank you so much for being a new subscription. And Coach Reed, thank you for your subscription. We got D Doll 76, Hamid M, Heart of Inspiration. Thank you so much, Heart of Inspiration. I know you came over from the lead attorney. I appreciate you for coming over here and becoming a subscriber to my show. And let's see, find some more here. Um, JF commented, and new subscriber. All right, so there's a lot. Like I said, I'm over, well over, not well over, but I've got like 1,020 or something like that. So it's starting to build up. I'm just super excited that this kind of stuff is being more more mainstream. I started talking about these narcissists about 2 years ago, actually 2 years to this date, when I was talking about seasonal depression. Like today was a holiday. So a lot of times this is when, if you do have narcissists in your families, be prepared to, be bothered by them, because the holidays are very difficult for them. This is when they need to make, most of them will make some type of mischief because they don't like happiness. It's very, it's like it burns, it burns, right? They're not really happy for that, so they'll do things to ruin the events and things like that. And so for some people, we could be confronted with feelings of depression. Like there's a such thing called seasonal depression disorder, and it usually happens a lot during these winter fall times, right? Because the seasons are changing, it's colder. Um, and again, like I said, a lot of these narcissists do horrific things during these holiday times. So you can have bad memories about these holidays and stuff like that, right? And I don't know if it's a coincidence or not, but I'm pretty sure this was during around the Thanksgiving time because they were having a Christmas parade, right? So holiday time. So now, when the victims, whenever this time comes around, they have to experience that. Um, it's more emotional for survivors when a loved one is lost during these type of times, because these are times that, because of traditions and stuff, we have it every year, you know and it kind of brings back, it puts you back to have to remember and to think about, loved ones lost and all those things. So hence is the reason why a lot of times narcs like to really cut up during that time, because make it hurt more. Make it hurt more. So I'm gonna do this here real quick and hang on for 1 second. Let me just mute this so I want to check my sound one more time. Do horrific things during these holidays. All right. Okay. So everything's good. I'm super duper excited to be talking about this. And so see what else have I done to the thing here. Okay. So I'm gonna start off first with, I want to read the transcript from the grandmother and stuff, because since this is our title and what we're talking about here, um, Darrell Brooks' grandmother. I'm not the wicked, the wicked grandmother. I think I want to play the video first, because the one that I did yesterday, I'm not sure how it happened, but the audio was off. But I'm still grateful because a lot of the stuff that I was pointing out was just facial expressions and things like that, where you really didn't even need words to be able to see. Like the older narcissist is more obvious when they drop the mask. Like grandma, oops, and pick it back up and try to put it back on. And two, they are so skilled, I can really believe that nobody else could see that the mask fell off, right? So they are very quick to put it back on there. So I think I want to start off with that, and because the statement is actually an updated statement. And the sad thing is that she released the updated statement after the sentencing. So that just goes again to show how narcissistic she was after hearing probably the backlash that she was receiving from her statement. She tried to change it up and then send another one. See how these narcs are? They like still didn't take responsibility. I'm just gonna send some new something. Like, see how you feel about this, okay? It's really sad because again, it was just it's all about me, right? It's all about me, and I'm showing you this is me. Like, look at me, and it's all about me. So let me go ahead and find my where I'm going to be at. Oh, and then too, I found something extremely interesting, and I think I may take a little time to show that it's the video I came across that had a lot of information, recent information on the girlfriend Erica Patterson and the roommate, the person that helped her, lady named Corey, and she's doing an interview on the Norman Nix show, which is a channel I just found. I just subscribed to him, and I really appreciate what this young man is doing over on his show. He's got and he's putting together. You can see he's actually putting it together as it's coming about. Like, this is some new information, but his um his mission, or how he's breaking down to what he wants to do. So you can feel comfortable about giving is to get the thing together, but manage it to where you're not, like how people get these GoFundMe's and stuff like that. And if they themselves have issues like with addictions and stuff like that, or they need healing, they definitely don't need to have access to, just easy money, right? Because it's not really helping that person. It's really enabling. So I appreciate his mission as far as like wanting to give help without enabling, which is something that I'm totally passionate about because I want to help, but you definitely don't want to be an enabler. And again, like I said, if people aren't aware that they need help, you cannot rescue them because you will be endangering yourself, which we saw Erica actually, endangered all the people out there by inviting the monster up there because she was still, she still needs help. I'm not saying that she did it on purpose, however, because she hasn't stepped up to heal from the abuse and return back to the abuser. And as we know that this is a cycle for victims, and we saw that she's no different from anybody else, and probably because she started getting the abuse and receiving this programming at the age of 15, it goes again to show how some of these men actually targeted, these narcissists will target a young girl, to do these things. And then all of a sudden, when people point out what a horrible person they are, they will blame the woman and say she chose wrong. Because I've heard that too before. When things go bad, or you point out the poor treatment or the narcissistic treatment, people, not people, but most of the time it'll be the men. There's sometimes women too, because again, like I said, you have to be careful of them too, because um, they will so a lot of them will kind of sell you out that way too. But to say to say that, right, so you have to be careful too, because they'll gaslight you and say, oh well, you chose wrong. You say, hey look, the narc did all this stuff, but they'll turn it around and then blame you, right? So blame shifting is like kind of one of their number one games. So um that's a good reason to pay attention to all of the words, because they will do the word salad, and if you're not really paying attention, it's like pin the tail on the donkey. When when I was a kid, there was a game at the birthday parties. This was a popular game. It was played at every birthday party. Pin the tail on the donkey, where you, the person, will be blindfolded, and then they spin you around, because spinning around causes you to get dizzy, and then you are armed with a pin, a tail with a pin on it, and then you have to blindly and staggerly pin the tail on this here donkey. And sometimes I try to liken when they do the word salad like that to the pin the tail on the donkey, because most of the time, once they spin you around and you have that blindfold on, your balance is off, and the chances of you you know pinning the tail on the donkey is pretty slim, right? The same way where you do that word salad, and before it's all over, you're so dizzy you don't even really remember what the initial offense was. You're just like, you know. So that's why it's important to, stay focused when they are trying to do it, and to not, you know, uh, let them get you out. Don't let them make cause you to just kind of response, like kind of just blow up, right? You want to have, don't let them cause you to react. Make sure that you stay in control and give a response, not a reaction, right? Reactions are, just like reflexes almost, right? Is you kind of, it just happens, right? When the doctor or the nurse or someone is checking your reflexes, you touch certain things to see like what happens, right? So a reaction is a reflex, and you don't want those, right? Because you don't have control. Reflexes, you don't have control. You don't have the control to see if your knee is gonna jerk out when you get hit on those reflexes, right? The same thing when you're dealing with these narcissists. Make sure that you are responding. So take it in, think about it, analyze it, do what they do, right? They all, take the time and do slow. Like when we listen to grandma's testimony, watch how it took, probably about like 2.5 seconds for her to mount the response and just a lie, right? So then that gives us more ammunition to know that didn't even need a lie, but narcissists will lie about anything. And so these are clues too. If you catch somebody in a lie, like it for no reason, they just line up for just, they ain't said hi, my name is yet, and the first thing comes out of their mouth is a lie. That's definitely somebody that you don't want to invest any type of time in, because they didn't even think enough for you to just be honest. Like they just didn't even think you deserve the truth, right? It's going to give you the lie. So those are definitely things that you want to be aware of and careful of, not to get tangled up in. So let's see here. All right, so I'm just kind of rambling on here, and I do have a focus. I'm trying to um, make sure I got the right video here. And the reason why I'm harping so much on grandma here is because of her, she's being 80, and it just shows how, they say that the narcissists have the emotional personality of a 3-year-old, right? And you can see that, like, they have this little imaginary thinking and stuff like that. When I showed y'all how Darrell just kind of put his head down after he got the second guilty um, verdict, and you can see the imaginary thinking that if I cover up my face, like nobody can see me. It was 27 minutes that he had his head down to cover the shame, right? You could see the shame in his posture and all that stuff. But for him, he was invisible, right? We saw like the grandmother act like a little 3-year-old that you caught with the hand in the cookie jar and say, "Hey, I told you not to get the cookie. I don't have no cookie. There's nobody here yet at the moment. Thank you. I didn't take the cookie. Thank you. All right, let's keep it moving here." Said it. And so this to show how the older they get, they still, like, she still had like a certain little childness about her. Like you can just hear in her voice, you can see that she's been, just probably causing all kind of havoc and just letting making excuses for her grandson all this time. And just the fact that people saw that, she had to come back with a new statement to change the words. So that's another reason why I want to actually play this again, because it reading the statement, it kind of reads like it's kind of the same, but I want to see the words that she changed. And again, like I said before, with these narcissists, you got to pay attention to the words, because with the word salad, one word could actually mean something else, and it goes to show their intention to how they're trying to sway you, manipulate your thoughts or how you should think about things by putting certain words out there. So if you miss it, then you won't even know that all of a sudden now you're confused. You don't even you're thinking about something else, right? It's a distraction to get you off of the truth, so you're now arguing about something else. I call it the bug bunny, right? So when I was a kid, there's cartoons on Warner Brothers Bug Bunny, right? So this rabbit, um, always he was a narcissist, right? He used to outsmart them all the time, especially Daffy Duck, right? So by doing the little word salad, twist it around, and then next thing you know, like there was this one episode where Daffy Duck's another character, and hopefully this is not dating me too bad, and maybe y'all may know some of these things, Bugs Bunny. And Elmer Fudd is he's a hunter, right? And he's going to hunt for rabbits, or he don't care to be ducks too, right? So he gets out to the forest. He comes across Bugs Bunny, Daffy, not Daffy Duck. Is it that? Yeah, it's Daffy Duck, right? Which one is this? That's Donald. I'm so I forgot all this stuff. But anyway, he distracts him, right? And he says this duck season, right? So Daffy is trying to get Bugs killed by look at me, wrong words again. He's trying to get Bugs hunted by Elmer Fudd by saying it's duck season. He's pointed out duck season. And so the narcissist always stay calm, just like, Bugs. He's chewing on his little carrot. Hey, what's up, Doc? Right? And then he goes, it's duck season, it's rabbit season, duck season, rabbit season, duck season. Then all of a sudden, Bugs Bunny turns it around and says, it's rabbit season. Then all of a sudden, now Daffy turns it around and says duck season. He's going back and it's duck season. So next thing he knows, he's getting blasted because he is now saying that it's duck season. He just did a verbal programming. This was something very powerful that the narcissists do. If you really just take the time to think about it, their stuff is so childlike, it's so easy, right? It seems scary at first because you're not even sure how you got off up in there. But what I'm telling you is that once you learn all of the cycles that they must go through, like they can't help it. When it's time for them to devalue you and abuse you, they've got to do it. They don't care. It doesn't matter how many eggshells you've been walking on, for the last so many weeks. When it's time for the eruption, the volcano to erupt, the dinosaur to arise, the lion to roar, it's gonna happen. They, have no choice because it's that time, right? It's just like having a menstrual cycle. It's that time of the month, right? So they have it too. They have their cycles that they have to go through. The good news is that knowing that you can start to prepare your exit strategy when they start to devalue you, and they will do silent treatment on you and then discard you, right? So most of the time they'll be moving on to something different for a while, but they're not planning to leave you for good. They're going to bring you back because when it comes time to abuse a person again, they have to feel good about hoovering you back. Like that feels good to know that they, outsmarted you and got you back up in there. They did the Bugs Bunny on you, right? They outsmarted you, brought you back, only to be able to go through the cycles again. That's why it's important to, when you leave, never to return back, because if you return back to the abuser, you are telling them that you're okay with being abused, right? Because there should be no time that you should go back to somebody who abused you. No time. There's never a time. There's never a time because it never only happens once. Even though they say, oh, I'll never do it again. I'm sure if we surveyed 50 abused women, 50 domestic violence women, I'm sure they will all, we can play a game, right? Hold up your card and say, like, okay, what's the number one thing that the abuser says to the victim? I won't do it again. Wait. Okay, that's number two. You made me do it. That's probably number one, right? So anyway, the top three are, it's going to be very typical. It's going to be a cookie cutter response that they use all the time, and they all use it. Like they all, use the same lines, right? So these are all actually helpful tools for us because the more you know, then you just, when they go off into it, sometimes you have to, roll with it, right? And then when they discard you and leave, that's when you get up out of there, right? And you go far and you get distance between you, Sometimes it may take a whole year before they finally stop trying to hoover you, right? So, um, there you go. Now let me see. I know I've been talking about going back onto this video, but every time I get ready to go there, I start thinking of more little tips, and I just want to make sure that we looking at them because it's the small tips that's going to save you, you know, um, time, right? Because that's what they're ultimately after. They're vampires. They're here to suck away your time, right? So if you cannot, identify them before you get entangled with one, it's a lot easier than trying to heal from the emotional and possible physical abuse that you are guaranteed to receive with being around one of them. All right, so here we go. We're gonna go back to um, is this it here? Hang on a second. We just. Sorry. Oh no, that's my video. Wait, that's the wrong one. Okay. One moment here. I'm trying to find grandma's testimony again because it's so many valuable gems in grandma's testimony. She's like evil to the 10th power. Like she can't even hold the face right. She one of those grandmas that can send you that look from the choir stand and knowing that she about to beat your butt when y'all get to the house, right? She look like she was go pick me a switch. One of them grannies, right? Okay, let me see. Is this it? No, that ain't it either. Here we go. Okay, let me share the screen. Again, this is a video that I've spoken about before, and I'm gonna do it again today because yesterday when I was breaking it down, I don't know what was going on with the sound, but it wasn't audible. But again, like I said, basically we were really looking at the facial expressions, and you don't really need sound for that because we were still able to see, because they put the mask on, but they still can't control every little thing. So that's why you have to really pay attention to subtle eye twitches, little drops in the shoulders, different, eye movements, all those things play a big difference. And that's what gives them the advantage too, because they really watch you. They watch you like a hawk, so they know what's going on. All right, so we're gonna go back over here to that, and let me share the screen. So again, we can see here he's got some, he tried to work up some teary eyes because his mother she's just finished. She went first. The mother got up there and ran, and shame on society to everybody, and then had the audacity to read the poem Cage Bird Sing, and again pointed the finger at us and blamed society for this monster that she raised, right? Right. And so now grandma's getting ready to take the mic. And so that's how we can see that he's trying to play the little innocent boy, trying to look sad and innocent. And you can see it looks fake, like he's a bad actor, right? So look at it, right? You see he's indicating. That's what we call in theater, indicating, right? Good afternoon. Look at that. You see that? That was a smirk right there. Did you see the smirk? That's the narc smirk. You can't help that. Like he's trying to hide, he's trying to cover up because on the inside he's laughing his ass off because he knows he's wasted 3 weeks of their time by stalling, by putting on all these theatrics at during this trial, torturing the victims by cross-examining them and just being a complete, not caring, right? And so now here's the closing um the statements, right? The victim impact statements and stuff, right? All right, did y'all see that pause? Right? So the judge is looking at a camera in her courtroom, right? Because she's doing the testimony via the Zoom, right? So the judge is seeing the grandma. She clearly sees that there is somebody visible to her, right? So she's asked her who's next to you because she's putting it on record. So she's announcing it. So when it's back in the written in the transcript, it's going to say who's speaking and who was present, right? So grandma is taking her time. She's trying to think of her lie. There's no one next to me at the moment. Thank you. All right, now did y'all hear how she did that? She's telling, right? She was asked by the judge. And grandma said, there's no one here at the moment. Thank you. I wasn't sharing y'all, right? Right? And look at her face. You can see she's annoyed. She's got a little snarl here. She's annoyed, right? Because she wasn't able to just start. She didn't. Her control is now being challenged because she's been asked a question, right, by the judge for the authority. And Miss Mary, these narcissists don't like to answer to anybody because they are the smartest ones. No one's smarter than them. And how dare you question me, right? There's no one here at the moment. Thank you, right? Go ahead. All right, did you see that? How she still tried to control it? Are we good to go? Right? So now the judge, she's got to, get the authority back, right? Because she hasn't answered the question, right? Oh, that's my husband. Now see how she tried to play dumb, right? The overacting, oh, who, what, oh, this, him, right? Why didn't she just answer the question? Because narcissists have to lie. They have to. They can't help it. Like there was no reason to lie. But look at her face. She is mad that the judge didn't accept when I said thank you. There's no one here at the moment. Thank you. Can we go? She wanted to stop there. Like, you not running this here. I'm here to give my statement. Look at her face. She's pissed. You see that? She cut the eyes at the husband. Okay, he's not in the room at the moment. And with her eyes, she looked at him and said, get your ass out of here. She pissed. See how she's cutting the judge off? And we saw that how Darrell Brooks that too is a narcissist tactic to cut you off so you don't get a word in edgewise and they can continue to manipulate the conversation. Look at grandma. She's smooth with it. Here we go now. Is it a problem? The judge can't even talk. She's talking over the judge. This is how we're going to do it, right? So she's bullying her right there, right? See that? Right? Get your ass over there. Sit down. I love that part because it's so obvious in her face. You could tell her husband is probably super henpecked. There's a reason why he didn't want to be part of this. He probably like, I ain't gonna sit up here and make myself look stupid defending this knucklehead grandson. You know what I mean? Nobody, we should have been said sorry. We should distance ourselves. We should just, you know what I mean? We shouldn't even, I don't even want to be associated with showing that I'm supporting him, right? So look, there's a chair there. Obviously, she probably wanted him to sit there or some kind of way, right? Because she needs to represent herself. Look here. Look at her background, her narc shrine. Look at her narc shrine up there. Who does that, right? Have your name plastered up there. Look at this narc shrine, all right? Look at all my plaques. Look at me. Look at me. Look at, gee whiz, what does that say? All right, come on now. Let's see what she's saying.
Thank you, Judge. For the record, my name is Dr. Mary Darlene Edwards, and I am not.
All right, did you hear that, right? I mean to stop it right there. For she's ready. She got time. Yeah, time. Okay, can I go, Judge, now? All right. For the record, I am Dr. Mary, right? And then I am not. She just falls out of character, right? Sometimes the mask slips off, but hear how quick and loud she got with it. Like, I am not. You can tell that she's just here to clear her good name. She hadn't even she barely got her name out before she's defending herself. So that tells me that word was getting back to her that she's a wicked, she's a wicked woman and all that. So that's why she's got to tell the people she got to check y'all. And she probably been hearing that all this time. Everybody been saying Miss Mary and her messy grandson, Miss Mary this, Miss Mary that. I'm pretty sure if we went to her neighborhood, people not gonna have good things to say about Miss Mary and her grandson that they let get away with everything. He probably didn't cause all kind of problems in the neighborhood, and everybody know that Miss Mary and Miss Dunn boy is problem, right? Look at her. All right, let's go on and finish, Granny.
The wicked grandmother of the West. I am the grandmother of Darrell Edward Brooks Jr.
All right, see how when she got to the part where she's defending herself, and then She trying to get the composure again because it's very important to these narcissists that they keep everything calm and composed, right? Because they're really good at getting you. That's what they want. They want you to so they can sit back and go, see, I told you she was crazy, right? I told you he was crazy. That's why they want to try to manipulate you and they continue to overtalk you so you can just get frustrated and just give up, right? These are all psychological tactics, right? This is all abuse.
And I asked to be here today for two reasons. First of all, from the bottom of my heart, I want to offer
All right. Key word offer, right? She's not giving anything. Offer, right? That's one of those times when people say, I'm sorry if. I'm sorry if you offended, right? That's not a real apology if you're only sorry if, right? So think about it. Like she's still, she's not going to give no apology. I'm offering, right? So if you want to take it, take it. Take it or leave it, right? I'm going to offer, all right? And still looks. See that smirk right here? She got a little snarl, like, so she's a little bit agitated even to just say this stuff because she doesn't think that she needs to say this because we need to forgive Darrell. And here we go again with this old sex crap. Let me throw these people out here. um yeah. Hate when this happens. Okay, and I'm gonna let that distract me. There's some spammers over here. I'm gonna get them out. All right, but back over here we can see that
my
what can we see?
sincere apologies to those who have been.
Sincere apologies. She drops her eyes again and her voice is deflated. To those, right?
Hurt so badly by what has happened here, this tragedy that has been caused by my grandson. I want
Okay, so she's talking about a tragedy that's been caused. So right now it's going to want to stop this because I want to switch over and share the screen with the actual written transcript, so we can just check from the first few verses here to see what did she change, right? So we heard what she said here. Let's pull up the words here and see um, if they're matching. Let me see if we find that statement. Oh my goodness, where did I see that statement at? Okay, yeah, here we go. But I need the first part where we're going to match this. Okay, here we go. All right, we are going to read over this because apparently, um, a day or so later, she changed her statement, and this is what it is here. All right, the updated statement says, read the full updated statement below. All right, so here's the statement. My name is Dr. Mary Darlene Edwards, and I am the grandmother of Darnell Edward Brooks Jr., right? So now we can see that she changed it up. She took out that I am not, right? I am not the wicked grandmother of the West. She took that part out and said, I am the grandmother of Darnell Edwards Brooks, right? So I wonder about like why like this why even do this, right? This goes to show again um how entitled she's feeling about this because the sentence and all that stuff's already over, but she's just worried about how she looks. Like, who cares? Why would you even take the time to insult us with an updated statement? Like your statement really matters for anything. Like anybody cares about your statement, right? But for her, she thinks that people cares about her statement, that she'd have the audacity to make a new statement to try to change the words to see if this is gonna make her look or sound better. This part up here, right? So she took out the "I am not the wicked grandmother of the West," right? To say I am the grandmother of Darrell Edwards Brooks Jr. I asked to be here today for two reasons. First, from the bottom of my heart, I want to offer my sincere apology. So this word wasn't changed because she probably didn't recognize that this kind of exposed her as being a narcissist right here by her little offer. Her sincere apologies to the families of those who have lost their precious what? This is totally not what she said. All right. All right. So the new statement I want to offer my sincere apologies to the family of those who have lost their precious grandmothers. What? The family of the little boy and to all whose lives have been damaged by this overwhelming tragedy, a tragedy caused by my grandson. Wow. Wow. Okay, yeah, they probably just really ripped her a new one because, okay, so she doesn't even, this part, not only did she not say the kid's first name, Jackson, she didn't even say the last name. Good heavens. Wow. Wow. All right, so I wasn't prepared for that. Gee whiz, I didn't know. Wow. Okay. So wow. Right, so she tried to clean that up. Okay. So let's go back here to the video. Oh, wow. Okay. Definitely. Okay. So let's share this again. Going and finish up Grandmama's little thing here. And wow.
I'd also apologize to the family of the little boy and understand the name is Sparks. And to all of those whose lives have been damaged by this overwhelming tragedy.
This just makes me laugh all the time because it's like a joke. It's almost funny. You can see like this looks so fake. He's a bad actor.
As a minister of the gospel of Jesus Christ, I want to give the family and those who've been hurt so badly the scripture: Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted.
It y'all can't hear the anger in her voice, right? In this little scripture that she throws out there. It's almost like, here's these scraps, right? You can just hear the condescending attitude in her voice.
And I say this, please know that it's my prayer that my grandson will sincerely and humbly apologize and ask all of you and God for forgiveness for this horrible, terrible deed.
Horrible, terrible deed. All right, so let's go back to the page here. All right. All right. All right. So, okay, so we're about right up in here. As a wait, okay, so she cut out all that part. And as a minister of the gospel of Jesus Christ, I want to okay, here we go down here. Please know that it's my prayer that my grandson will humbly apologize and ask all of you and God for forgiveness for this horrible deed. I have heard that's, oh, okay, wow. So where's the prayer then? Okay, here's the scripture. It's not really a prayer, it's a scripture. Hang on a second, I got a cough. Where's my mouse? Okay, excuse me. All right, so let's see. It looks like this part here has been changed up. I have heard that some of you have said that you will never forgive. All right, so she cut out his name. Okay, so now we're going to flip back over here and pick back up.
Some of you have said that you will never forgive him. Please do not be like the man who drank the poison and hoped his enemy would die. Unforgiveness is a terrible disease, just like mental illness is.
Wow. Okay, so I have heard that some of you have said that you will never forgive, right? So she cut out the grandson's name. Hopefully, you will not be like that man who drank poison, hoped his enemy would die. Unforgiveness is a horrible disease, just like mental illness. Truly, there have been many lessons because of this tragedy. Wow. Darrell's, okay, or many losses, excuse me. Let's see. Did she just go right there?
Truly, there have been many losses because of this tragedy. Darrell's mother has lost a son. I've lost a grandson. Darrell's children have lost a
Again, she keeps talking about their loss. I don't really see much evidence of too much change here because it says here too. Truly, there have been many losses because of this tragedy. Daryl, she's going back into this. It looks like it's exactly what she said on there. I'm not gonna read through all this stuff. It's the same stuff. She pretty much just took out the part of her, um, of her, saying she's not the wicked grandmother and all that stuff. But for the most part, it seems to be about the same thing. She's not saying anything different or new. So, but I just wanted to pop in there with that one there, and I may take a few minutes for this new new information that I found to highlight this little video just to kind of maybe start off for something new for the next day. I am excited that I'm keeping up with this daily lives that I've been doing on this new channel here with the daily lives, and now excited about all this stuff. So, what I want to start focusing on starting tomorrow for the next few days, I want to talk more about the girlfriend, Erica, and to show y'all some of the things to watch for so you won't be that victim who doesn't have the strength to be able to resist the hoover, resist when they do the hoover. I've said before that the hoover is something that you the victim have a choice to participate in. The other three cycles, they're going to pull you off into it, right? You can always tell when your narc is about to do the thing, like when they start trying to pick fights and things like that, right? So the Hoover is the one thing that you have an opportunity to, not get back in. And that was the way I was able to escape out of a narcissistic entanglement that I had got in back in 2017, which led me to all of the research that I had been doing after that point to learn more about this disorder and to be able to identify the traits and the personality traits that they all have to be, it helps because one thing as the victim that is always on your in the back of your head until you want to know like how do I avoid this? Because what ends up happening is that you usually, once you get out of that situation with that narcissist, if you're not healed, you're going to find a replacement, right? You're gonna attract the same personality, just only in a different person, right? So that's why it's super important to heal from it and find out what is in you that's not that's needs healing that's attracting them. They smell they smell a wound on you, right? They're looking for that. They're looking for a wound so they can, make it bad and pick the scab off and so that's why it's important to heal so you won't put out the scent of broken or wounded individual, right? Because that's what they looking for. They looking for that, right? So they could, even make you feel worse, right? So it's important to take time to heal yourself. I always say that if you're just getting out of a relationship, you need at least 6 months at least 6 months minimum, 6 months to a year, really just to be into yourself, be by yourself during this time. By yourself meaning like not trying to get off into another relationship, because it takes at least 6 months, right? Because the first few months or so, the first few weeks, that narcissist is going to be trying to hoover you really tight, right? So that's when it's definitely not a good idea to be talking to anybody else. And two, if you are still healing, you're not going to be available in any kind of relationship, and you're just going to be creating a triangle with the narcissist. That's why it's ultra important to, take at least 6 months off before you start dating or talking or dealing with a new person, right? Because if you don't take that time to heal, all you're going to do is just, draw a new narc in a different body, right? But you're still going to be drawing in that type of energy. So that's why it's ultra important to take that time, take at least 6 months, right? Because you need that time to heal, right? You need time to heal. Emotional wounds take time to heal. So my my point is always to take the 6 months, take the 6 months off to heal and learn about this too, right? So you don't have to walk around in fear. Most of the time, the victims are afraid of meeting somebody like that again. You know what I mean? Because you are trying to figure out, like, how did you get off into that position? Like, most of the people that are in these relationships never saw themselves in a relationship like that. Like when I was being used, I never thought of myself as somebody who would support a man or take care of a man or something like that. But when you're in it happening, you're going through all this guilt and different things like that, and you consider yourself a smart person, an intelligent person, and you don't even know how did you get off into something like that. Like, how did you fall for that, right? So those are the things that keep you kind of like worried, and you're so over vigilant to where you missing out on these subtle red flags. With it, they all come with them. So if you just sit back and not pay attention to them, right? That's why they want you to listen to them all the time, so they can keep you confused. So it's super important not to give them that access to you um, with it. That's why you do that. No contact, block them from every opportunity to be able to talk to you, so they can't abuse you, because they can be abusive in text and emails, all kind of things, just to throw words at you to cut down your self-esteem and stuff like that. So you want to make sure that you're shielding yourself from these type of things, so you don't have to you know get it. So what I want to talk about are the psychological effects that the victim receives that causes them to continue to return back to the abuser, right? Like, what is that? What is that all about? And that's what we're going to talk about, because, like I said, the girlfriend who was trying to take these steps to get, away and stuff, actually, I don't know what he said to convince her, or to have her to be able to give up her location, right? From somebody who just physically tried to take you out, right? You're not playing and you hit somebody with a car. You're not, he just tried to tap you, he just tried to bump you, right? And you give that person your location. You're giving the location to the person who just tried to take you out. Like I said earlier, you wouldn't do that to a strange person, right? So what is it like? What is it? And they are so charming to where, if you stop to listen to them, you just never know. If you're not healed enough, you could just be mesmerized and rock back to sleep, and the next thing you know, back with the monster, right? Walking on eggshells again, right? So these are all clues. If you're with anybody and you're feeling like you're having to walk on eggshells, or you can't really be yourself because they, you can see them being agitated, or they're, you know, um, if you're feeling like you're walking on eggshells, that is a clue right there. We need to start making sure we listening to our instincts and our guts and stuff like that. If you're feeling like you're walking on eggshells, you are walking on eggshells. Stop doubting and denying your feelings. Like, you have intuition, you have a brain, you have a gut. You have to start listening to your feelings. Your body's telling you stuff. If people come around, like, sometimes you have to think about, like your aura, your space. If somebody got too close to you, kind of feel that, like, they've stepped off into, your aura and stuff like that. Think about that when interacting with people and stuff like that. They say something and you feel like, hey, did they just insult me? Yes, you had to have been insulted because your subconscious picked up something, right? Even if you're not consciously aware of it, you feel something. Think about that. Like, think about that and think about what the person said. Like I said, they're very clever with these little, slicing you up just ever so slightly, and you're not aware that this is what's going down. And before you know it, all sliced to pieces. I hate nieces to pieces, right? So let me see if I can throw these comments out of here. Remove the it's not working. Let's see. Or they must have put in a bunch of them anyway. So I mean, just go ahead and keep on removing until they're all done. Good heavens, how many did they put up in here? Jeez. Um, yeah. So it's super important to stay vigilant and take notes and watch out for the trap, right? Because they are looking and hunting for victims all the time. And they have to keep hunting for victims because the lifespan of the victims is not that long. Most of them have been into like multiple relationships and stuff like that because they already know that, before they're going to go through these cycles and it's not going to work, right? They're already prepared for that. That's why they have multiple partners, because when you get tired of them and they have to they have to leap to the next person, right? They have to like I said, the frogger, right? They got to have that next person there because they are so draining that they next they need more and more resources, more and more victims to be able to get that fuel and stuff like that. And you know that's just how it is. I'm about tired of removing these things. I don't. It doesn't even seem like it's moving off. Let me see. Try it over here. No, I don't want to start. I want to remove, block. All right. Okay. I'm trying, y'all. I'm trying to keep that everything nice and clean. However, sometimes these little um, sex bots um, get over here and start polluting the chat. But okay, so I've been talking now for a little bit over an hour, and I haven't noticed any comments, but I do see that y'all coming in here liking. All right, and let's see here. Stop sharing. I have stopped sharing, and I appreciate that too. I really do appreciate the love, appreciate the support, and if y'all do have some comments or questions, oh, here we got something right here. Let's see here. Queen BG said, I did exactly that. I walked on eggshells for a 20-year marriage, which has changed me. But thankfully, I left in 2012. Oh my goodness. All right. All right. For 20 years? Oh, bless you. All right. That's horrible that you had to walk on those eggshells like that. And I'm sure they did a lot of the gaslighting because 20 years walking on eggshells, he was probably convincing you that it was your fault. And so you continued to walk on the eggshells because you're trying to make it work. And these are all psychological abusive tactics to keep you in this captivity as a hostage, right? You're just a hostage. And I'm grateful, that you've had your freedom now for the since this time, 2012. But yeah, 20 years is a long time to suffer, and I'm so grateful. Queen BG is out, and thank you for sharing your story so we can, help a lot of people, a lot of women get out of this whole suffering thing. You know, it's mostly women, like I said. However, there are some women narcissists out there too that's pulling these type of stunts. Yes, Queen BG says yes, exactly. Good. All right. That's what I'm saying. I'm so grateful that this is now available because think about it. Even in 2012, these type of platforms really wasn't available out there, and we didn't have a voice. Like we have been programmed and conditioned to try to stick it out. Like I'm sure if there were children involved, it make you want to stick in it longer and stuff because you know you start feeling like, oh, you know, keep the family together and all that stuff. All a while this here abuser is just continuing, you know, they just getting away with it because they make the victim feel guilty. And so we victims are carrying the burden of the secret and trying to keep everything together so as not to make the abuser look bad. I mean, like we do so much stuff to continue to protect the abuser. So I'm just grateful now that we having our voices and we not staying silent anymore. We calling out these abusers by name and we putting them on blast so we're not burdening ourselves with carrying these secrets because that's exactly what they want us to do. They want to project and put all this negative stuff onto you so they could be free, right? And that's why they do these things like make the arguments and stuff like that so they could unleash and let all this yuckiness that they feel all the time off onto somebody else, right? And blame shift and do all those things. Thank you, Queen B, for your comment. That really sheds a lot of light because you know who would think 20 years, and there's so many of us out there. You know, I think I served about 16 years that served, you know, you served a 20-year sentence here, and you know at least you out and still got your mind intact and grateful and thankful that you survived, right? And so by us telling our stories and stuff, may be able to, you know, somebody can halt before you even get off in that, and then happen to hope you can figure it out before you then you know donated 20 years of your time because life is very short, right? And we don't get the time back. Once the day is up, the day is done. Once the day is done, it's done. We can't get back tomorrow. All we can do is hope that we wake up for tomorrow and get another day to start over. So every day that we wake up is a new day. So we don't, you know, we don't feel bad for yesterday, right? We can't change it. There's nothing we can do about it. We only can hope that we have tomorrow to, you know, make the changes. Thank you, Queen B. Queen B says people in my church never knew because we acted the part around the saints. So every day I would pray and trust God. Man, Queen Bee, I want to say that I know exactly how you feel because I always said I was like in a cult, right? We were very religious. I was Hebrew Israelite, and it was totally against God if you were going to even think about a divorce. You had to stay in there. And I know that I prayed and just pray, please. I didn't understand like why is this so horrible, and you know, this is horrible. And a lot of times these people that's in these churches and stuff like that, they're the worst because you have everybody trying to put on these acts and stuff like that to pretend for the saints, and then again, you know, divorce is supposed to be, you know, a sin against God, so you have all these things playing on your emotion. I know I was scared, like I didn't want to offend God, you know, I really was believing all this stuff. So, and they use that to continue to control you and manipulate you with guilt. So now you can't leave, right? You know what I mean? They're gonna look at you like you're not a strong Christian because you know you need to pray more, you need to fast more, trust, or like you said, trust God, trust and pray more. And it's like, well, you know, I'm being treated poorly here. Like I'm sure God didn't want for me to sign up to take this. Like I don't get this. Like this ain't right. Like, you know, but they use that and it's working, you know what I mean? So I'm grateful that you were able to get out of that after 20 years. Sometimes, as we could see, like with Erica Patterson, she'd been with this man since she was 15, and so she's been there for like 16, 17 years, and people are you know spending time, years and years in this stuff here. Yes, Queen BG says, yes, exactly. I was afraid on a daily. Oh wow. Oh wow. And that's horrible. I mean, that's a lot of times people have these ulcers and things like that, having these gastric problems. It's all really, not all, but most of the time, oftentimes it is related to stress. And like I said, I have 30 years of nursing experience. That's all I've done in my life is, work as a nurse. Retired now, but I'm saying this to say that a lot of times we show up and we present with these different issues, and they are direct results from the abuse, right? You get these ulcers, it's very stressful, and you're producing all this gastric acid. It's eating away the lining of your stomach, and you're producing these ulcers, more wounds, more wounds. That's why it's important to heal and, be whole. That way you can get better, and you'll be able to overcome and actually thrive. And I've always said that the best revenge is success, right? Because these abusers, they are jealous of you and they hate you, right? So if you the first thing that you can do to help yourself is to understand that they do not love you, right? You have to understand and you have to accept that. And in the beginning, it's going to be painful because you really believe the love bombing. You really believe that that person really loved you and they sold to you that they were your soulmate and all that stuff. And then we have been programmed and conditioned to believe and to long for this whole fairy tale love and romance and marriage and all that stuff, which is another, it doesn't, you know what I mean? It's not true. It's not a real thing. It's just an imaginary, um, an imaginary idyllic situation that doesn't happen, right? So people will look and say, oh, she was married for 20 years, and people will celebrate that and say, oh, wow. But if it's been 20 years of hell, 20 years of walking on eggshells, 20 years of living in fear, 20 years of not being able to be free, is that success? We need to stop looking at these times and looking at that as judgments of success, right? Because as we can see, Queen BG spent 20 years in misery and in hell. Like, that wasn't fun. It's not fun to have to walk on eggshells. That's never fun. You worried about if you sneeze too hard, if you didn't make the eggs correctly. And then with these narcissists or these abusers, there's nothing that you can do that's going to make them happy. You're never going to get it right. That's why it's not good to go back, because you're always going to mess up. It's just a matter of time before you woke up and this little piece of hair is out of spot, and that just irritated me. So now I want to pick an argument with you, and then if you or do anything the wrong way, I'm going to take that as an indication it's time to, get violent, right? Because they have a quick temperature. All right, yes, facts. Yep, these are facts. These are facts. These are facts. These are facts. And the more we talk about this and share the facts, somebody, your testimony, Queen BG, could help somebody save 20 years, right? Because once you get, the time's up, you don't get that back, right? And as a survivor, you can say that, you survive and you have lessons to learn. But it would be great that if we shared our stories, that maybe some of the younger women don't have to learn the hard way like we did. But because our conditioning and programming has been set up to where, like the narcissist, they compartmentalize everybody, keep everybody separated, right? And that's what they're doing in this, by everybody keeping their story silent so we don't get together. And then they train us to and teach us that other women are our enemies. I know we have been taught to, I know since I was a kid, right? I'm 51, I'll be 52 soon, y'all. So a kid growing up in the 70s and 80s, I know it was always taught that other girls are your enemies. Oh, she is still your boyfriend. Oh, she thinks she's cute. We have been conditioned and groomed to feel that way. So now we can't really grow as a community of women to help each other, we are each individually, I'm sorry about this mic, y'all, individually sentenced to our own miserable hell to suffer individually, suffer on your own, right? As opposed to if we looked at each other as, we community, we sisters, we working together, then we won't be feeling drained and tired out by all the responsibility and the burdens when we get entangled with these men and get knocked up with multiple children back to back to back to back, right? And another thing I wanted to talk about, years ago, I want to say it was about 24 or 25 years ago, there was the case, Andrea Yates. She was a white woman who unalived. She had five children, and she unalived all five of them, right? And she was, and then they, convicted her. They really ripped her down. I feel like if we look at the facts in the history, that we can show that she was married to a narcissist who she cried out for help, and he continued to put her through these living conditions, and she finally lost it, and a lot of these narcissists, these abusers will, their whole purpose is to drive you to insanity, to where you do things to yourself so they can sit back and go, see, told y'all she was crazy, right? Because they want to, and they've done this little stuff, smoking mirrors behind the scenes to do these things. So back then, we didn't have all the technology, all the information and stuff. And so she was being blamed for all of this stuff, and end up being arrested when she really needed mental help. She really had a true mental breakdown, because of, there's a true thing called postpartum depression, right? And so since women weren't really given the right to be able to decide when they're going to kind of have these children, she wasn't allowed to space it out. She had five kids back to back to back, all five stair steppers, right? So anybody out there who's been a mother, you know how much work and how draining and how emotionally, roller coaster having a child is, having a baby. Can you imagine if you've got five kids, all back to back like that? And she was begging for help. She was begging not to, I can't do this, and I remember back in the early 2000s, I was married, and going through all this draining and all that stuff, and I was feeling emotional, like I wanted to eat the kids, like I want to eat these kids. And thankfully, I had family, and my sister had my family and stuff to um, get them, and so I can pull it together, because I'm, beat down so badly that, I needed to get myself together first. Like y'all have heard me say, it's very important to take care of yourself first. Just like when you get on the plane, they tell you to put your oxygen mask on first before you help the person next to you. And you have to use that same strategy in life. You have to help yourself first before you can help somebody else out. Because if I'm trying to help you put the oxygen on, I'm going to pass out from lack of oxygen. And then you're going to pass out, because if I can't help you put it on, then we're both finished. That's why you have to always make sure that you, God darn it, let me mute this and fix this. Excuse me, y'all. I'm really working on my little set here. I kind of I need to take some classes and courses to figure out where to put this put this microphone. But like I said, I'm a work in progress here. So the point I was making was that you have to take care of yourself first, because that's the only way that you're going to be available to help somebody else out. So the most important thing is to make sure that you know that you are the most important person in the world to you, because there's nobody else that could do it for you. You have to take control and do what's best for you, right? Because once, now that I've got my oxygen on, Now I can go over here and help you, help you, help you. But if I what I'm trying to hold my breath to help you, I can only do for so long. So it's always important to make sure that you are together, you are tight, you are right, and your mental health, your whole esteem about yourself is intact, or you're doing things to work on it to grow it. And if you have friends or family who aren't supporting you on that, or who are taking opportunities to tear down anytime you're trying to build yourself up, these are people that you need to remove yourself away from. Sometimes a narcissist could be a family member. It could be a mother, father, brother, sister, your children. You know what I mean? So you have to make sure that you aren't being narked by anybody, right? So sometimes you got to take time to get into your little cocoon, get out from your own cocoon so you can heal. And that way, when you come out, you can avoid all that stuff. Like you'll still be attracting them in the beginning until really get healed up. Then after that, you will see them so far, and they will have an instinct to know that you see them, and if they don't think that they could be successful, like they don't like challenges too much. So if they don't think they're going to be successful at getting you to believe their um you know uh mask, their delusion, then they'll just move on to somebody else, right? And that's what you want to. So I know a lot of times when you have been discarded by one of them, it's difficult. You want to try to fight for the relationship because they'll definitely triangulate you, and they do this so they can make you work harder for them, right? By telling you that Sally over here has been really trying to look me up, and she's trying to get with me. And then most people, since we've been trained and programmed to think that we need to try to keep these um, abusers and stuff, we will work hard and start jumping through hoops, right? While they sit back and just kind of watch and laugh. Let's see here. We got another comment. All right. Queen BG says, I've always put everyone before me all my life. Wow. I was a Girl Scout, a brownie, okay, as a young girl, and I are missing was help was to help. Oh, and our mission, right? Maybe um, was to help others always. So that is me to this day. Yeah, and I get that too. Like I said, these are grown programs that we need to reprogram ourselves. This is with the, bad data, right? Because that's how they continue to get you to self-sacrifice yourself, right? Because we have been taught that's what you do. You always put others first, right? Put them before you, right? And I'm telling you that this is all wrong, right? It's wrong because I know that me putting myself first for, that time that I took to put myself first to heal. Now I am able to help so many more, like my family and just people, because I'm so healed, right? So, you know, I'm in a position now to where I'm more healthy. I can help other people because I got my oxygen on. My oxygen is on. I'm good. I'm at 100%, right? And so we don't want to miss that point. But what happens is if we've been groomed, right? You're supposed to do that. Like if you've been conditioned since you was a child, with these Girl Scouts and the brownies and stuff. I was a brownie too for a brief moment in the 70s. And so you feel guilty, you feel bad, like you feel bad to like actually put yourself first. Like this is bad behavior when these narcissists are totally not caring about anybody else, and they're just living their best life on your expense. So it's always important to, if you've got to reprogram yourself, that's what it takes and that's what you do. And because like I said, life is very short and it's very precious, and you don't want anybody to mentally manipulate you into or trick you out of cherishing your life and getting the most of it and actually living your best life. And like I've said before, and I always say that the best revenge is success. That's the best way to get back at these narcissists, by overcoming and doing better than them, because they get to sit back and watch you soar, right? Because most of them are just going to just be like where they're at, like they're not going to really accomplish anything. That's why they got with you, to be able to suck you dry and then limit you and stop you from being all you can be. So don't give them that victory. That's why it's super important to heal and move forward, so they can see you whole and actually shining and really doing something with your life. And that's how you pay them back. That's like the biggest wound you can give them. You actually up there doing something and not feeling shame or feeling like, not feeling good about yourself, right? It tears them up if you're doing good and you're feeling good about yourself. Like they want to know that you're suffering because that they put you out of their lives. Queen BG says, yes. To be honest, I don't know how to reprogram from put myself first. Any suggestions or books? Yes, Louise Hayes, she's really good. Self help is old school. And I'll put together some links too, right? Yeah. But she's a good source there, and she's got some good books. One of them that I have is called Heal Your Life, right? And she kind of breaks it down to where every physical ailment has a mental block that's causing it, right? So once you discover what that is, there's some affirmations that you tell yourself daily throughout the day, and that's how you go about reprogramming yourself. It's not an easy, quick switch that you turn on and off. It requires discipline and consistency. You know what I mean? Like, I know, like, I was told I was slow when I was a kid. I didn't recognize I was smart until I was much older. Nursing school is not easy for those of you out there. So how can I be slow or dumb? But when I was a kid, I was told that, and I really believe that. I didn't really have confidence in my intellect or my intelligence or even my smarts until I was much older. I had to reprogram myself. So a lot of times, just saying things out loud, I'm at peace with myself and others. You find these affirmations. Like I said, Louise Hayes, the book is called Heal Your Life, and she's excellent. She's excellent. She has the book, like a lot of times, even little injuries and stuff like that, we're not even aware that these are psychological things. A lot of times we inflict on ourselves. That's why we attract the people to abuse us, because somewhere in our our subconscious, we feel that we still deserve abuse, right? And most of this is from childhood wounds that we have of unforgiveness, from things that happened to us when we were kids. So that's why a lot of the steps too is step one is to go back, go all the way back to when you were a child, to your first memories and stuff like that. And a lot of times we may have to acknowledge some pains that parents have done to us, mothers and fathers, and those are sometimes the harder ones to actually get through, because it may be hard for you to acknowledge some feelings of anger or hatred or something like that. In order to experience love, first you have to acknowledge that hate, right? You can't have one without the other. It's like a coin, right? One side is going to be heads, the other side is tails, right? And in life, you have an opportunity to flip it, right? So if the heads is negativity, then just flip it over, right, to tails and be positive, right? The glass is always half full, just like it's always half empty. It's up to you to decide which one you're going to take. You're going to accept half full or half empty. I always love to accept half full, right? That's the best way to do it. Half full. It sounds better than half empty, right? Even though it's the same. They're identical. It's the same portion, but we're going by the sound, like which one sound. That's why I say words are super important. So we need to take notes from these narcissists and be intentional with our words, right? And that's how you get things done too, right? your brain is listening to everything that you say. So when you hear yourself talking to yourself negatively, stop it. Immediately. You can even say something out loud, like, I don't know what you're talking about, I'm beautiful. Or if you hear the negative self-talk, you know start acknowledging it, and then replace it with some positive things about yourself. Like if you find yourself, your lower self, telling your self something negative, stop at that point and find three things. Or even if you just found one thing to say positive about yourself to replace that negative, and you just keep reinforcing it, and before you know it, you are always seeing that glass as half full. But you have to just stay consistent and stay on your quest and your search, right? And then, like I always say, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, right? And then you start getting your answers and stuff like that. But the first thing you do is loving yourself and forgiving yourself. Sometimes you may have to um, write the real true angry letter. Like, say if there's, you find that maybe it's something to do with you and your mother or something. I'm just picking that out because I had to work through some issues that I with my mom, right? So, and it's not uncommon to have mother daughter type issues and stuff like that. What I'm here to say is that we can heal from things, but we first have to acknowledge, if you was a victim, you can't feel bad to point the finger at an adult or a parent or somebody who abused you, right? If they did, they did, right? You can't take it back, but we can always, like I said, start today to make sure that you're not receiving that from anybody. So there's always opportunities to heal and stuff. So sometimes you may have to write it out, and you could write out the letter, what you want to say to that person, and you don't have to give it to them or mail it, but just getting it out helps. A lot of times we suppress and repress emotions and feelings and things that we need to get out, and that's how a lot of cancers and stuff are developed, right? Because you don't catch cancer, it's developed. And a lot of these things go back to mental stuff that in your mind. The mind is very powerful. The brain is very powerful, and a lot of times, you could create and help to develop certain things by how you think, right? And that's why these narcissists are real good about trying to convince you of stuff, and they'll try to program. That's why if you don't take control of possession of your own mind and do and wield it to do the thing that you want it to do, somebody else will. These narcs are out there, these abusers, they're looking for people that's too lazy to take possession of their mind, right? That's a a responsibility that we owe to ourselves and stuff, right? So we make sure that we're getting the most out of life, and living our best life, right? And like I said, that is totally the best revenge, because when you get to see how far you get to go, and you look back and see that they still in the same spot where when they so-called left or whatever like that, or you left them, you escaped. And that's a good payback too, when you escape and you don't go back, because now you really can't go back. Because trust me, if you go back, you are signing it away, right? Because they're gonna pay you back doubly for it. They don't like that, checking out here. So I'm just grateful here. This channel is new, and I'm happy. I'm trying to build, not trying, but I'm building a community here for victims to heal and transition into survivors, because we can't help the fact that we were victims, right? You can't do anything about that. Somebody victimized you, but we can heal from it and endeavor to become survivors. And that's where the power comes in being a survivor, right? Because I'm still here. Let's see. All right. Queen BG says, thank you so much. I receive it, and I will start now working through it. Thank you so much. And I'm glad I was led to your channel. All right. I appreciate that. And thank you so much for putting that out there. I really appreciate it. And it's comments like this that's really fueling me and really encouraging me to keep on talking about this, because a lot of times we victims, we suffer in silence and nobody want to say anything, because you're thinking like, okay, it was just me. Everybody else is happy doing this stuff. And these abusers are counting on you being silent so they can continue to go around and abuse other people. And everybody is keeping their abuse silent, right? And that's how they're able to just kind of spread like a sickness and disease, which it is, right? So it's very empowering to own it and actually start working. And then you're going to be so grateful when you look at yourself in 90 days. Like, take everything in small blocks. When you start setting up 90-day goals, you'll be amazed at how many goals you can knock off in 1 year, right? So you got 4 big major things that you can set for your even the new year is getting ready to come up, right? And if we set 90-day goals, write down some things that what you want to see, and start checking them off like every day. Oh, I know, acts of faith. Give me 1 minute. I'm gonna actually go grab the book, and I'm gonna show it to you. This is an old book from Iana Van Zet. I'm sure. Hey, Maggie, the substitute teacher. All right, got Maggie, the substitute teacher, said coming through with the mastermind support. All right, cool. Welcome to the All Around Natural Beauty channel, Maggie, the substitute teacher. Let me get that book. I'm going to show it to you, Miss Queen BG. Right here. Okay. All right. And I'm sure some of y'all probably have heard of Iana Van Zet. She was someone that she had been doing her thing for a while, but she became very noticed through Oprah Winfrey. I want to say back in the 90s or the early 2000s, late 90s, or I want to say I've been following her since like 1995 when I started reading it. It's a daily book of affirmations, acts of faith. Iana Van Zet. She's a black. She had a show, Fix My Life. You may have. I'm sure you probably have heard of her. She's real deep sister, and each day there is an affirmation. I'll just let's see. What is today? November. What is this? November 25th. All right. So we have November the 25th, and so I did this. Each day I'd read the affirmation, and then each day, and it was right with seasons and stuff like that, and you just practice these things, and then before you know it, after like 6 months and then a year, and then it just recycle each day. It just goes through, so you just keep reading each day, and it's so empowering, and she's got so much information and knowledge in there. It's super amazing. This great book here, and I'm going to read this one in just a second, just for the date. And the other author I was telling you about, Louise L. Hayes, she's another good person to help for like healing and stuff. And she's the one I was telling you about for the heal your life. There's another book. So this one is Heal Your Body, right? So this one here, she gives affirmations on loving your spine and stuff like that. Like I work on those kind of little things like that. Like I was saying, a lot of times we have these little negative things in our mind. They will manifest in different ailments. So some of the books that she have, like in the back, it'll have the symptoms or the diseases, and then she'll give you the affirmation to it, and also like what the thoughts that actually caused it and stuff like that. So these are some good. She's great. I've got some of her books, and then like I said, Iana, she's good too. Very powerful sister. All right. So for November the 25th, it says, "With money, a dragon; without money, a worm," and that's a Chinese proverb. Then it says, most people of color believe that if you have money, you can do any and everything. You cannot. Other people believe that if you don't have money, you cannot do anything. They are also wrong. Money is only the visible effect that shows what is going on in your mind. The richer, stronger, and clearer your thoughts, the greater your supply of currency. Money doesn't always show up as a dollar bill or in coins. People you can call on, resources you can draw from, thoughts and attitudes, these are also wealth. What you yield in your physical life is a result of how you think. You are your own money. Money is my own natural energy field. Your thoughts, words, feelings, and actions determine your own worth. The quickest way to make money appear is to love yourself, respect yourself, and put yourself to work. And then the affirmation says, I am money. Money is mine, right? So this is how start the days and stuff like that with one of these affirmations, Iana, and she's got other books too. She's an excellent author. Anything by her is very good. Yep. So thank you so much, Queen BG, for all of your comments here. You know, like I said, it's encouraging for me too. Like we recycle the energy. That's why when you get it, then you reach over each one, teach one, right? So you do the playback show, and then continue on, because the more people we wake up, the less likely we're going to be able to um, keep this growing, this whole abuse system. Queen BG says, thank you. Also, do you schedule consultation sessions? Well, that's funny that you should say that, because I was just thinking about that today. That is something that would like to do. And so, yeah, keep up with me, because it's coming. It's really coming. Like I said, this is all new for me. This voice that I'm sure I've had, but this whole focus and direction, and you're the first person to ask about it. So I do want to get like a calendar put down there, so people could start getting some consultations. Like I said, I've got the 30 years of nursing experience, and I'm 51 years, so I'll be 52 December 15th. And that's, with age comes wisdom, right? And like I said, I've been married and divorced twice, and have been entangled with narcissists in between times and stuff, to where, and like I've done for the last 4 years, extensive research, extensive observation, and to know how to be able to identify these narcissists, to where I'm not falling for these little these little bitty baby tricks and stuff that used to catch me off in the beginning all the time. And I used to just like, why? How am I so stupid? How I keep picking these dumb ones and stuff, right? And so then we know that they will gaslight you, and then the first thing that they'll say is they'll blame you that you chose wrong, right? You chose wrong, right? When we know that these narcissists will target you, right? So you've been targeted. Like, they don't just go pick random people. They targeted you, right? They researched you, they checked you out before they even showed up, right? That's how they know how to mirror you. And then they interrogate you basically to find out really more about you, and then they start on their mission. So don't blame yourself if you've gotten entangled with one of them, because they're very, very very sticky, right? They're very easy to not easy, but they're they do good work, right? That's what they do. They've been practicing this their entire lives. So thank you again so much, Queen Bee, for all of your engagement, and definitely, I'm sure that the next the next live is really going to be dedicated to you. I'm going to do some more research and put together some stuff for you, and keep working out on this. Oh, thank you. Here we go. All right. Queen BG says, awesome. I am subscribed, and I have my notifications turned on as well. Thank you. All right. Great. Yep. And I'm excited too, because I can feel that, we need to keep sprinkling water on ourselves and doing the healing, and healing with this emotional healing, and really using the concepts, because years ago I was a wound nurse, right? And I was really fascinated with the healing process of how, like, the skin repairs itself, and all that stuff. But one of the things that I did learn, being this wound nurse, I was like working with serious wounds, right? Um, Chronic ones that was very difficult to heal. And with these emotional wounds are difficult to heal because for the most part, most of us aren't even aware that we have these wounds, right? We're walking around with these infected wounds, infected emotional wounds and things like that. And they're not being healed. So we've got to learn how to identify them. And that's why emotional abuse is so much more damaging than physical abuse, right? Because physical abuse, like if you get punched, I got the black eye, the swollen lip, all that good stuff. So it's obvious the thing is there. But for the most part, most of us, when we get emotionally abused, we help by being silent, right? Because you don't want to say that, you've been called all these names or, belittled or, yelled at and all that good stuff. And so we're just holding it in and we start internalizing. And that's how we get these things, negative things like ulcers and stress headaches and all these other different things that we could relate back to um, some type of a mental thing. So again, here's some books up in there, and I'm working on being able to put together a more polished show with links, clickable links for different things like that. So again, thank y'all so much for stopping by, and I appreciate everybody's been hitting the like button for real here. And yep, it's really coming along. And we're gonna build this community, and I'm open to suggestions and different um, cases too. Like I was talking about the Andrea Yates, right? So if we can see how these narcissists and these abusers do these things, and then all of a sudden the victims are left here having to be responsible for some of these things that's happening when they've been, you know, puppeted and kind of manipulated off to responding in certain areas and stuff. It's really they been kind of manipulated. So I'm just grateful that we're really shedding the light on this and we're going to be helping a lot of people. We're going to be helping a lot of people and putting these narcs out of business, right? Because they're going to be having to look a lot harder for new victims. All right, so y'all stay aware and love yourself, and then start to love one another. But love yourself first. And I'll see y'all tomorrow in another video, or later today because it's already tomorrow. And I'm going daily. All right. Bye. Peace and love. And